What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. We got a lot in store for y'all tonight. A lot of Kentucky stuff has dropped. Again, we think that Kentucky basketball is not going to be giving us anything. We finally have something, though, that is very interesting. As of today, this is Wednesday, July the 8th. Mark Pope went on to Kentucky Sports Radio, KSR. First off, fellas, why did he not come on the Bluegrass State of Mind?
Did we send him an invite? We're not inviting him.
All right. Send him an invite.
That was my first, I don't know about you, Mark Pope, going on KSR. But hey, regardless, I was happy to hear from you. So I feel like, this first segment, we'll kind of get foreshadowing for those who are listening. Tonight we're going to cover what Mark Pope, his interview, go over some Ryan Hampton drama that's came out. We even are going to get into a little bit of Kerr Kriisa stuff. That's a big story right now. Get into some U.S. soccer. We're going to have a little Kentucky game, and it's not your normal game. So just information for you all. We're going to play a little game where both of you all have $20 to spend on players, and you will take turns buying them, and we'll see who has the best roster. So we'll get into that. Also, did you all see recently, as I was going into church, the whole Nikola Kirstari, however you want to say his name, that news that dropped, he was saying it's not a done deal, so we can even get into that a little bit. So pretty much so the message is there's a lot more Kentucky stuff than I expected to be doing tonight, and I'm happy about that. So let's get right into it. So Mark Pope, as we mentioned, got into the interview with Matt Jones and his KSR group. A lot of different things to talk about. I feel like we just need to pick one to highlight, and we kind of discuss it as a whole. First off, I do want to say this. Great move, Mark Pope. This is what we like. This is what BBN loves, is hearing from our coach and just hearing a voice. I feel like there's a void, whenever we've talked about, and even KSR has talked about, if you do not say anything, that void of silence will be filled with speculation, with things that may not be true, ugly stuff. Something is going to be filled if you don't speak up. So I was happy to hear that. Before I send it over to you all, number 2, Mark Pope says big words. I wrote down 2 words when listening to this interview, and immediately, as soon as he said it, I was like, okay, that's not a word I hear every day or every week or even monthly or maybe even ever. And I'm going to say those words, and I want you all to tell me if you have heard these words or hear them a bunch. The first one, voracious. I was like, what in the world? It reminded me of, whenever he talks about beautiful, I feel like he's like a poet and he didn't even know it. I don't know. And then his next one was concertation. I had to look both of those words up, and I don't even remember what they are.
Wait,
seriously.
What was the second one? Say that again.
Concertation.
Concertation.
Look it up real quick while I'm talking.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
I don't know. I forgot. Concertation.
I can spell it.
So, Colton, while he is looking that up, and if he can't look it up,
concertation refers to a collaborative process of dialogue, information exchange, and joint decision-making, often between opposing factions, public administrators, or private sectors.
I've never heard that word in my life. I was... and the other one was voracious. I think that's aggressive is what it was.
Describes someone who craves, devours, or consumes great quantities of something.
Right. Okay. But Coney, kind of, let's bounce off that a little bit. It kind of goes a little bit with what you sent in our group text, and I want you to share what you had sent in our group text. And this was without any context before. Like, me and you hadn't talked. All that we had said, all that we had each said was, "Hey, we need to listen to this interview." And that's pretty much all we did. We didn't talk about the interview, but you did send this one thing, and I was like agreeing with you. I sent the exclamation points because I felt the same way. But go ahead and share what you had shared in our group chat, or summarize it basically.
Yeah. I like Mark Pope, but he's a weird dude. I mean, he is. I mean, he just is, man. And I think it's maybe because you ever been around people who are extremely smart, and they're almost, it's like their mind is constantly thinking things, and so it has no choice but to come out weird because they can't just be just natural and simple. They're too smart for it.
Do you think this is why he has some trouble connecting with like recruits and players and things?
100%. If he's talking to me like that, I'm zoned out. I'm out. I'm lost completely. He starts using those words, we're done.
Coach.
I'm walking out.
What is coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, come on now. We're talking about some of these college players who probably ain't been to class in 10 years, and he's going to use. I found out he was an English major, though, through his interview.
I didn't know that either.
I thought he was going to be a doctor. I thought that was the plan if he hadn't gone into the NBA, was that he was going to be a doctor. Someone said
he was like in med school or something.
Yeah, like he was in med school. It said he said he was an English major in college.
Well, the man could write a book.
No wonder he's using the big. Yeah, so no wonder he's using.
But although you say that though, Colton, I do think it's important for everyone listening and just us to make this claim though, is that even though that I would agree 100% that, he's just a weird dude. He is. However, though, I did feel like what he was saying it wasn't calculated. It was sincere. It was genuine. I felt that way. Did you all feel that way, or did you think he was weird and calculated?
Yeah. I just seen some clips. I didn't have time to listen to the full thing, but I seen clips of it. And, one part, Matt Jones asked him, like, hey, whenever you first stepped in here, he was like, I want you to ask me the hard questions. I want you to do these things. And I think that's a good thing. And I agree, Dylan. I think he was sincere. And I think he kept saying, too, like, he understands, what it means to be at Kentucky. And our standard's never going to change. So if he's not performing to that level, then he wants to be criticized. And, in the end, all that really matters is, can he live up to that, and can he change those results if he's not doing it? But I do think it's good to have somebody who's not scared to take that heat and be able to step up there and give these answers and answer these hard questions. It kind of goes back to the thing where right after all these recruiting flaws, he kind of gets on X and is like, BBN, I want to hear all your questions. Like I like that. But at the same time, you have to have results with that. Like, you're willing to do that, and you're willing to come on here and talk through these things, but you have to have the results have to back that up, right? Like, it's okay to say, yes, I want to be critiqued, but in the end, you're going to have to get the job done, or you're going to be gone.
But from a PR perspective, he's doing the right things, at least. Like, there was a little bit of a period of time where it kind of was like, okay, what are we doing? Like, something has got to change. The fans, and they did question him about that as well, talking about that silence of the keeping things quiet. He alluded to, like, sometimes it's just business, like there's rules and regulations. Then he also mentioned that he brought up families, as far as like they want to keep things quiet. And then the last thing is, like, sometimes we just don't want things to get out because it could, put a break on something, or it could scare them off, which I totally understand. Colton, I know you got a chance to listen to the whole interview. Mason said he listened to some clips. I was able to listen to the whole interview. What was something that stood out to you in the interview? That and we can, like I said, we're just going to say some different things.
The biggest thing, I in the grandstand, obviously he's big on the injuries, right? And that's kind of has to be his fallback, right? Because he can't come in and just say, yeah, I don't think we had the good roster. Like, he's not going to throw players under the bus. He's not going to do that. So, like, I do appreciate that. I know injuries is also kind of a fallback, but it's better than throwing players. When they asked him essentially today about the Ferrari comment that he made, and they was like, do you still feel like, do you regret saying that, or do you just, and he was just like, we never got to see it. He's like, if you gave me that same team right now and said that they were going to be healthy, everyone's going to be healthy, he said, I'd ride with it right now, not change a thing. And so I I respect that he stands up to that. Like, and that I feel like he really believes that. The only issue I run in with all of his comments, I think he says 90% right, but then when you sit there and say, I understand Big Blue, like I understand, like I want the heat, like give me that. But then you turn around and you're like, we've accomplished a lot in the first 2 years. It's like you say, I know what the standard, you're saying how you know the standard of Big Blue, but then you say we've accomplished a lot in the last 2 years. And if you really say that you know the standard as well as anyone, have we accomplished a lot? Like, have we done that? And in my eyes, we haven't. If you want to say we've accomplished more than getting beat in the first round, yes, I guess we have done that. But if you think that that's the standard after preaching, the standard, then you don't know the standard. But he should know. He does. And so, like, those are the type of comments that kind of get me, is when he was just like, we've accomplished a lot in the last 2 years. And I know you're trying to bring some positivity there to the fan base and try to say, hey, there's been some lights. So I'm not big on that. And then he was pretty bragging on developing players.
He brought up Amari Williams.
He brought up Amari Williams. He brought up some of these guys that were late second rounders, that weren't on draft boards and they got drafted in the second round. And I'm not saying that there hasn't been some improvement shown in some of these guys, but at the same time, like I don't think he developed a Kobe Brea, right? Kobe Brea was a number 1 transfer portal shooter, and he didn't do a whole lot more at Kentucky besides shoot, but he shot the ball well. And he was a number 1 transfer shooter. I mean, in the portal whenever we got him. If you want to say, take it away, become more of a go-to guy, yes, I get it. Yeah, maybe if you want to say Chandler improved a little bit, but I don't know that I would say that he's necessarily, we've looked and been like, hey man, he's the guy that, like, that's a big selling point to recruits. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to get you from point A to point B, unlike anyone else. I haven't personally seen that with some of the guys. Maybe you all have, and maybe some of the fans have. I'm not saying that players have regressed, but I don't know that I would sit there and brag about being the biggest developer in the country of athlete, which is essentially what he said. He said we develop anyone better than, like, we develop better than anyone.
Yeah, he did state that.
I would say there'd be a few coaches that would probably, have a word on that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I probably agree with most of it, but I guess my thing here is, like, 95% of these guys, 95%, are coming into their college program ranked in the top 15, 20 guys, right? Like, you look at the Boozer, you look at the DeBonsa, you look at the Peterson, like, most of these guys are already coming in there with that hype around them. Like, I'm trying to sit here and think of the last person who has, like, well, I'm just trying to think of, like, the last person who just came out of nowhere. Listen, you brought that up earlier, and I got to thinking about Reed, and I think Reed probably was slept on, and I got to watch him several times when he was in high school. I thought he was so much better than Travis Perry, and it's not to Travis Perry, but, like, you could see that difference. But I also think Reed was slept on because he was a 6'2" kid playing in the state of Kentucky and dominating these kids, right? And I also think, like, looking back on it now, I don't know that any team would have taken Reed Sheppard as a 3rd overall pick in the NBA draft, looking at what he's doing now in the NBA. Like, don't get me wrong, he's having a decent NBA career. But looking back at it, I think some of that hype and some of the guys that he was playing around and how he was getting to play so freely, I think that kind of led to how high he went in the draft.
Yeah, it was a weak draft.
It's also a draft class. That's why
it was a terrible draft class. He wouldn't have went 3rd in this year's draft class. Like, there's no doubt about it.
But I also 15.
But I think he's on the verge of being, like, 6th man of the year type guy. Like, I mean, we're talking about and he just turned 22, right? Like, I mean,
I also sit here and think, like, when I watched Reed Sheppard, I just didn't see where his game changed that much from what I saw him do when he was playing in high school. And I know it's different athletes, but I did not see him. Like, he's always been that good shooter. He's always had that high IQ. He's always been that athletic. Like,
I'm going to have to take a pause real quick because you're going to have to reel me back in here. I'm a little confused on how this.
Okay,
We're talking about developing.
Okay,
we're talking about
development. He was talking
So
about
are we
like,
saying that like how Cal maybe didn't develop them? Is that kind of where this is coming? I'm just a little confused.
I said that I'm trying to remember like the last guy who came in and wasn't like this high stud, and all of a sudden blew like developed.
Nick Richards.
And it took him what, 3 years?
No, I agree.
So I mean, we could see that, but
that's the. Regardless of the Cal situation, do you think that Pope is actually developing a lot of these players? I mean, Kobe Bryant and Amari Williams were 23 and 4 years old.
Here's my no, but I'm going to say this. But I don't think he's had any of these NBA caliber type of players yet. Right? Like I don't think he's had anybody who's really like,
which
Amari
also
Williams.
Is recruiting.
Yes, exactly.
Plays go back to him, which is what we talked about. Right.
I just don't think any of these guys have had the intangibles and the skills to be that star, like to develop into that star in the NBA.
Well, there's I'm gonna give a positive and a negative from the interview, and the big what I loved hearing him talk about. And Mason, I know you and I have both talked a lot about that, and Colton as well. I just remember me and you having this discussion. He kept bringing up creators. He kept elaborating, and he even made an analogy to a hockey what was it, a power play. And he was talking about creators, and I loved how he was even going in depth saying like, listen, when I'm saying creator, it's not necessarily just for yourself, being a creator for others, and we've talked about how last year Otega Oweh, like that was even a little, not a debate, but is Otega Oweh a star? I think we all finally agree, like, yes, he was a star. He just wasn't your star caliber player like a Darren Peterson or a Cooper Flagg or even the AJ. Like, it was a different type of star power. So Mason, like, I don't know if you even got to see that clip, but how do you like hearing that from Mark Pope talking a lot about that this year? Because he was saying how this year's team, looking at how much that was the number one thing that he looked back when they asked, because that when he got to saying, well, I don't have regrets, they're like, listen, we need an answer. Pretty much that's what, and I like that they said that, like, what's your answer? And he's like, looking back at last year's team, we just didn't have the creators. Losing Jalen Lowe did hurt us, and then that went on the tangent of the injuries. But I was happy to hear him state that, like, listen, last year I know we didn't have this. This year, that was like a priority. So what does that, I mean, I agree.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we've talked about it on here several times, is like, I feel like that has been one of the key things that both of his teams have been missing, right? And I think that at times we have seen, not so much last year, but like that first year, like Mark Pope's system, like he can get good open looks, right? But that's obviously not going to happen every time you come down the court. So you have to have one or two of those guys who, like he said, they don't necessarily have to create for themselves, but be able to beat their guy off the dribble, draw an extra defender, and get you a better look. And they're not always going to go in, but just being able to create that better opportunity and have somebody who is able to do that night in and night out, it makes a big difference. We think about so much last year, like last year's offense looked so much different than the year before, right? Like at times it would get so stagnant. We get down to 10 seconds in the shot clock, and it's like, okay, well, somebody's going to have to do something, and nobody ever could. Right. So I think it's very, very important, and I'm glad to hear that. And I think we do have a couple on the team this year. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to be exciting. It's something that we haven't really seen yet in the Mark Pope system. So I think that's good that he was able to realize that and go out and, I mean, hopefully address that. We say we do, but we'll see what happens when the season rolls around.
For sure. Results is what matters. Colton, one little thing that I guess would be my negative, and I don't know that it's a negative, but I have a feeling you maybe was going to bring it back up too, but I'm just afraid that it's going to come back to bite him in the butt. And last year, he stated that we had a Ferrari. He stated that Trent Noah couldn't miss. And then it was a complete 180. We did not have a Ferrari, and Trent Noah did missed every shot.
Couldn't throw the ball in the ocean.
And now he goes on the record, and again, I love the positivity. So I don't know really how it's a weird thing to state because I love hearing it. I do. However, though, I'm just like, maybe you could have went without saying that because you're going to set yourself up possibly here. But now he's saying that Alex Wilkins is shooting 79% from three out of 100 shots. 79%. That is like crazy good. And then he goes on and says Trent Noah is the best defender that we have statistically, like per possession right now. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you do know these quotes are going to come back in whenever, hopefully not, but like whenever you start to see maybe a Trent Noah not do as well as he should, or Alex Wilkins go dry and not hit. Like, I hope that does not happen. However, I just, in my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, how could have we reworded that without stating those things right there? Because that's a lot. I mean, literally, how many times did you all hear something about a Ferrari last year?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. But you're right. I mean, the way he should have given me an update about how much Trent Noah has improved defensively. Don't tell me he's the best defender on the team.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
don't tell, you know what I'm saying? Just say, hey, Trent, Trent Noah's really worked hard on his defense. Now, I will say this. I will give a little bit of credit to Trent Noah. If you actually watched him last year on some occasions, there were some occasions where he actually held his ground defensively on some situations where I thought he for sure was going to get cooked by some guys he was guarding. But there were moments, but I would not look at him and say he's the best defender on the.
If he is
Another-
our best defender at the
another-
start of the season, we're in trouble. I'll go
Yeah,
ahead and
that
say
too. I was going to say this though too, Colton. And again, I'm not throwing shade at Trent Noah. I mean, it's factual.
Right.
It's facts. When you said very important there, he held his ground, meaning he held his ground against some bigger boys, the 3 and 4. Where's Trent Noah? This is what we've worked. Where's Trent Noah being moved to this year? They said he is going to be playing the 2. I've never worried about his strength at that position. Like he's a pretty big, like it's the north, south, east, west, out athletic. Like how can we do against that type of caliber player?
And honestly, the worry I have there is, I mean, maybe that gets him some more playing time, but still looking at this roster, I feel like Trent Noah's still in that like 8 to 10 range.
That's a good point.
At best. And so if he's our best defender at the 8 to 10 range type player, then I don't know how I worry about the other ones. And I don't know if you were saying out of 100 shots, 79%. He said that's 4 weeks in. They're taking 100 shots a day, and he's currently at 79%. So that's 100 shots a day at 4 weeks in.
That's like 320 out of 400.
That's
over 4 days.
Week. You're talking about your 4 days. We're talking. He said they're 4 weeks into doing this, and they shoot 100 threes a day. The players do a thing where they shoot 100 threes a day.
Delicious.
And he's at 79% 4 weeks in. I mean, that's unreal. Which, like I said, I think Wilkins is a wild card, right? I think we're all like that. Like if there's anyone that has a chance of being the breakout star that maybe we're not used to, we didn't expect Oweh to come in here and be what he was.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to be that type of player that we think could average a 20 piece out of nowhere, it's probably going to be him. So I am looking forward to him. I think he's got the best chance of being the creator. The guys that all of a sudden he gets the ball in his hands with 20 seconds left and you got a double team coming at him. I think he's going to be that guy, which if that leaves Milan over, open for threes or any other shots. And, it can be a good thing. But also it depends what type of creator we're talking about.
Right. And I agree 100% on that. And we've not talked about Milan. Honestly, the interview didn't talk a ton. They mentioned him a lot, but the one very important thing that he did say that I wrote down was like, oh, that means a lot, at least to me. He said, and I quote, he said, Milan fits me. And, I was like, yeah, he does. I mean, you look at at least at the system that we've brought Mark Pope in to run. I mean, Mason, could you build a better stature player for a Mark Pope system than Milan?
Absolutely not. I mean, you're just going to run him off a bunch of screens, try to get him open looks, a lot of movement. But that's what we said, as soon as we got him is like, he is like the perfect type of player in Mark Pope's system, and I really hope and think he's going to thrive in it. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously good to hear him say that.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to our next segment. We got a little Ryan Hampton. So just to update, Ryan Hampton is was the 5-star top 10 recruit for the 2027 class that Mark Pope picked up probably about a month ago. Some news broke that he is now coming in at number 20 on ESPN, number 19 ranked on Rivals, and number 12 on 247 Sports. He was also bumped down from a 5-star to a 4-star status at ESPN and Rivals, who once was ranked into the top 10. Some are thinking that he could be the best scorer in the class, while others believe he will just be like a project piece and has some big time growing to do before he gets anywhere to his ceiling status. Colton Mason, I don't want to make something bigger than what it is, but at first when I was reading this, I was like, man, that's pretty big. Like that's a big shot at us. But then the more that I look at it, the more that I'm just like, I'm confused, and I feel like this is one of those things that is just hard to judge. For me, when looking at, and again, I'm no specialist, I don't do that for a living, but when you look, generally speaking, at the top 5 players coming in out of high school, they are kind of at the top, like 1 through 5, maybe 1 through 7 or 8. But then that next tier, from like 9 to 15, 18, I feel like you could jumble and you probably couldn't tell a huge difference. That's just my opinion. Do you all think this is bigger news than what it seems like, or are you kind of in the middle? Or you can like I'm confused on how this even like came about. Unless Summer Ball, I guess. I don't know, like, how does he drop that much by the time that he had committed? Is it because he committed to Kentucky? I mean, like what made him drop that much?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what actually made him drop that much? I mean, it could have been some summer balls, some AAU games that he might have went up against some other players that were within that top, 20 or so, and maybe he didn't look as good in those moments, or maybe he's had a struggle. And I also think that people are, magnifying it because of the recruiting struggles that we've had. And so when we finally got a win, and it seemed like Mark Pope finally got a 5-star, big time, somewhat similar to the Cal era. And so they're also going to be quick to be like, "Oh, look, you were so excited about finally getting a 5-star. You still don't even got a 5-star." Because really now we're getting, I mean, he's at 20, which he's still going to be the highest ranked we've had. But I mean, he's not real far from what Moreno or Jasper Johnson was ranked now, right? I mean, they were both kind of in that mid-20s to like 30s range. So if he was to drop a few, we're kind of looking at the same type of thing. But I do think the kid still has the upside. I like the build on him. I think he's going to be one of those that can play multiple positions. He's still the best recruit that we've got so far, and I think you still build momentum off of it. I think it's just a combination of the media kind of taking a chance to jab at us because we were celebrating over finally getting a 5-star and trying to be a win, so they're just trying to pull us back down. But
Punks.
maybe I hope there's not more to it. I mean, I hope that he's as good as we thought that he was, and that. But you never know with rankings. I mean, it could be anything. I'm not going to think too much into it right now. We get about 20 games into the next season, and he's looking more like a Jasper Johnson than he is a top 10, guy from this past year's class. Then I might be more worried.
Mason, is this kind of just something that you look at and you're like, it is what it is? Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really reading a whole lot into it. I just don't understand how he commits a month ago,
Yeah, I read pretty
and
much.
you could drop him in 4 weeks. Like what? What
yeah, that's
what
what I
has
mean. Like, what
changed? What have
happened?
you seen? And I don't know. I mean, I want to watch. I need to go watch some like clips on him actually playing against high competition.
That's your
and
homework.
just see what I think, because I feel like, I'm not saying I'm a professional scouter, but I mean, I had a good thought on Malachi Moreno last year. I said he was gonna be better than than projected. I had the same take on Mason Williams this year. Maybe it's just because his name's Mason. I don't know, but I've watched some of his film. So let me go watch Ryan
Okay.
Hampton, and we'll kind of circle back to this, and I'll tell you if I think he deserves the dropping. I'm going to kind of compare him to like that 8 to 10 player in the class, and just see what
Yeah.
I think.
We just need to get you on Mark Pope's staff. They're still in search of an assistant coach. So, and
I
they
mean,
may
you
or
wanna put
may
me on
not
scouting?
hire.
You want to put me on scouting? I'll go
But
do
it does sound like Jamal Crawford is not coming.
Yeah,
right
he is
now,
not
at
coming.
least.
Yeah, they said he's on like a 2-year contract. One more thing, going back to the interview, I forgot to bring up, but I thought it was hilarious. Mason, I know you didn't catch it, but I don't know if you've seen the clip from it, but at the end, they throw a little shot and shade at Calipari, and I loved it. It was hilarious. They was talking about how Mark Pope stayed through a break, like a commercial break or a ad that they put on there, and they was talking about how he stayed a little bit longer, and like, yeah, Cal never did that. He demanded that he will speak as long as we can, but if it goes to a break, he is out of here. And I was just sitting there, I was like, that does sound like Cal. It does. But Cal also didn't sound that weird at times. So I mean, like you pick your poison. Well, let's get into another Kentucky for our next another Kentucky player, ex-Kentucky player. Don't know if we want to claim him right now. Mr. Kerr Kriisa. For those who do not know, Kerr Kriisa was part of Mark Pope's first year, who came from Arizona, and then before Arizona was at West Virginia, and was a pretty good little spark off the bench. Backup point guard, then ended up breaking his foot like first quarter of the season, and then never came back. But anyways, this is really big news, I think, more so because in the state of Kentucky, because the man was about to play part of the TBT, like play part of La Familia, the summer team where we have alumni who come and play for Kentucky. If you don't know what TBT is, then you'll have to look it up because you're probably not understanding that. But it's pretty much, it's just old Kentucky players playing against other like Louisville old players, and it's for $1 million. But anyways, he was said to be on this year's team, and that was last week reported. Well, earlier this week, we find out that Kerr Kriisa has been indicted on 5 federal wire fraud counts, and the FBI is involved. Federal prosecutors allege that he orchestrated $2.2 million worth of fraud schemes involving at least 2 victims for over nearly 4 years. And all this was occurring in West Virginia. That's where he's going to be indicted. And just a little bit more detail. So according to the indictment, Kriisa allegedly, one, he used fake identities and false communications. He pretended to be other people, including his own mother, a woman named Irene. He claimed that he and his family were in immediate danger and they were in debts if they weren't paid. He claimed that his mother needed money for cancer treatments, claimed that the family's farm in Estonia was about to be lost, and then he asked victims to send money to other victims as part of his deception. He also went to say that he told a victim that he would sell his organs to repay the money that he owed. I mean, this is just chaos. I don't know how much time we're going to spend on this topic, but Mason, like, this is not just like a $50,000 or $100,000. Like, we're talking about $2.2 million. If there's any question that you could ask anybody that knows all about this, what would it be? What would be the one question that you hear me, what I just stated here, knowing all that's went into effect? Like, what is it that you want to know?
Listen, I have 2 big takeaways from this. One, how does he even like come up and think of this? Like, is he just laying in his bed at night and he's like, you know what? I think I could scam some people and say that my mom has cancer, my farm needs saving, and get a bunch of money. 2, only 2 victims and $2.2 million. How did he know to target these 2 people? Like, what is going on with this?
There
and
may
I
be
know there's
more.
probably on. There might be,
Yeah.
but still, like it says right now, 2 victims for
Right.
$2.2 million.
Well, they
I-
said on that it has to be probably donors, right? I mean, Colton, would you not agree that it has to be some type of endorsement deal, donors, or not endorsement deal, but donors that have helped him along the way or something?
I just
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't because on those situations he wasn't using. I mean, he was still using his own identity, right? Like when he was
Yeah.
talking about his mother having cancer and their family farm. So in my mind, it had to be someone that knew that he played for
it
the
said he
university.
used a fake person name to pressure a second victim.
And this would have been probably right before NIL.
NIL.
So I mean, you're talking about a time when you're probably talking about a college kid who was just needing some money out in the mountains, and you're talking about West Virginia being the #1 party school in America. So who knows? And that guy's crazy. Kerr Kriisa, like, he brought the energy, but there was no doubt you could tell that guy was wild.
He ain't
You're
scared
like,
of nothing.
he's wild. So I mean, there ain't no telling what type of trouble he got into out there at West Virginia. And so I would assume that he probably he probably targeted a couple bigger guy, like richer guys that he had met that were either donors or he had met at a frat party or an old alumni or something.
Yeah. Well, them country roads are not going to be taking him home. They're going to be taking him to jail. I know that. I mean, I wonder, did you all see, like, so it was Mason, are you looking at does it say how many years? Is it like?
No, it just said that he got transferred back to West Virginia. I think the court is scheduled for like next week or this week or something. So I mean, it'll probably take a while to get through everything and go through the trial process and all that. But I'd say preliminary hearings are starting this week and just kind of setting that time frame for when all this is going to go down. And
Well,
I'd say they'll
also-
probably offer him a plea deal. Like,
So
he
it-
can spend 5 years in prison and then
Right.
pay the money back.
So in reference to Kentucky, though, I did hear that, that there's a little bit of a scandal possibly whenever his time at Kentucky that he would sell his Kentucky tickets and the people who bought them would never get their tickets. Did y'all hear that?
I didn't see that, but
I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put anything past him.
I mean, when you get 2 point, but then again, that's a good point, Colton. This was done before the NIL situation, because after that, I mean, you think about, he went to Arizona, got paid, bounced to Kentucky, got paid, bounced to Cincinnati, got paid. So this is probably one of the wildest stories that I've ever come across, recent, just out of nowhere. When they said the FBI, I was like, what in the world? What did this dude do?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's do one last UK thing before we get into our soccer stuff, USA soccer. And the reason why I want to get into it is because it is surrounded around Kentucky, and it's the game. It's a really good one. I really think we're going to like this one. So stick with us, play along, because this is not like your average game. Like, you really need to think about this. So this is how this game's going to work for you two. Okay.
I've seen this.
You both have $20. Okay. So what we're going to do is you can spend that $20 to build the best roster you can. Okay. Obviously, Colton, if you want to spend $3 on a player and Mason says, I'll take $4 for him, and then you say, I'll take $5, and he's like, you haven't, then you've spent $5. Okay. The tricky part is whoever starts the bidding, you have to you have to start the bidding at $1. You can't just pass. So it's really important, especially for this first draw here, because you don't know who I'm going to say, right? But you have to bid $1. So it could be Brad Calipari. Sorry, man, throwing some shade at you. If I say Brad Calipari and Mason he drew and he was first, he would have to say $1. And then I'm sure Colton hopefully would not say $2. He would say, you can have him. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you have to start out? You have to start out as $1, or can I yell?
No, you can start out as high as you want.
You can start out whatever you want.
So it's 1 to 5, right?
On
or
the
I've
bid,
got $20. I've got
you got
$20.
$20. I mean,
so if I pay $20
I'm
into playing one solo, I've got to build a starting 5.
Yes, you got to build starting 5, and it's just the best roster. It necessarily doesn't have to be I have to have a straight point
Okay.
guard, center for however you want. All right. So, deciding who will make the decision if they want to bid first on the first round or give it to the other person. I'm thinking of a number 1 through 10. I want you to cover your camera or close your eyes, both of you, and hold it up. And I'll show the camera. Okay. All right. Y'all can look. It was 1. Colton guessed 2. Colton, you have the decision. Do you want to make the bid on this first round, or do you want to give it to Mason? And then we'll just go back and forth.
No, I'll let Mason bid first.
Okay. So, Mason, here we go. The first player, you have $20. I will type these out. You have first player, Patrick Patterson.
I'll give $1.
I'll give it $2.
I do think Patrick Patterson was underrated at his time at Kentucky, but I think I can get better. I'll let you have him for it. No, I'm gonna go 3. I'm gonna go 3.
Oh man. All right. All right, you can have him.
All right. I can't let you have Patrick Patterson for 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a
that's a
solid
steal.
4.
That's
Yeah.
a steal.
All right. So, Mason, you're down to $17. Your next person, you will start the bidding this time. Colton, Darius Miller.
I'll give $1 for Darius Miller.
I'll give 2.
All right, you can have him.
All right.
So Mason is down to $15. Colton has 20 left. All right. Mason, it's your bid this time. Jody Meeks.
I'll give $1.
I'll give 2.
I'll let you have Jody.
All right, I'll take Jody Meeks for 2. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. 54.
All right. So far, Mason
We're gonna
has
put Darius Miller on him and clank him
Patterson,
up.
Darius Miller, and has $15 left, and Colton has Jody Meeks and has $18. Your next person, who is it starting our bidding this time?
It's Mason.
Mason.
No, it's me.
Colton.
Okay.
Marcus Teague.
I mean, national championship starting point guard. He's worth at least $1.
I'll go 2.
I'll let you have him.
I mean, I just can't let you have him for $1. I can't do it. 2. All right.
Okay.
He's saving the big hitters for the
Yeah.
end.
Mason.
We're talking about a starting 5 here. Mason's got 3.
I know. He's
Yep.
running. He ain't got much left.
How much money
Mason.
I got left? 13?
$13. Colton, you have $18
good.
left. All right, here we go. Next one. Who is it? Mason? You're starting our bidding?
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Julius Randle.
$1.
Yeah, $2.
3.
Yeah, I'll go 4 for Julius.
You can have him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, if you get that 5, you're having him because you don't need him with Patrick Patterson.
All right, our next
Could have
one.
went big.
So, Colton, you have $14. Mason, you have $13 left. Colton's roster thus far is Jody Meeks and Julius Randle, while Mason is sitting with Patrick Patterson, Darius Miller, and Marcus Teague. Your next player is Mr. John Wall. Colton, you will start our bidding.
Yeah, $1.
$4, Bob.
All right, I'll give him 4. Wait, what we got? Hold on. I'll go $5.
$6.
You can have him.
Ooh. All right.
Okay.
He's gonna need some shooting.
Mason, you have
we got Darius Miller.
$7 left.
We got Patrick Patterson can stretch the floor.
Mason, you have $7 left. All right, our next player, Mr. Kobe Brea. Colton, you are going to start the bidding.
Yeah, $1.
2.
Not, you can have him.
I mean,
Let's just start 5.
That's my lineup.
That's his lineup.
Yeah, you're done.
I don't have a center.
Okay,
So I'd say $2, and Coach is like, you can have him. You can have him.
All right,
Those were the strategizing.
so here we go.
So now
Mason,
I
you're
can free. I can spend whatever, right?
yeah, you get the rest of them, so we
Yeah,
can just
you get the
go
rest of
straight
them.
to the.
Yeah,
All right,
I-
so
yeah.
Mason, your lineup is
I like it.
Patrick Patterson, Darius Miller, Marcus
Mhm.
Teague,
Mm-hmm.
John
Kobe Bryant.
Wall,
Kobe Bryant.
and Kobe Brea.
So
Now,
who's my lineup?
I still have $6 left, right? Can I try to
You're done.
bid
You're
on these
done.
others?
So
He's
No,
got to
I'm
spend
done.
He's got to
So
spend
now
his
I
money.
get the next 3 picks,
No,
right?
he's gotta
So
spend
just
his
tell me
money.
who the next 3 picks are.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. So now, Colton, your roster is Jody Meeks, Julius Randle, Anthony Davis, Alex Poitras, and Patrick Sparks.
Oh yeah, we running them.
Ooh.
We running them.
I don't
I mean,
know.
it got a little weaker there at the end, but I
don't
think
know.
we're running them. Give
I
me
don't
a
know.
stop. AD and Julius
All right,
Randle.
listen, you have Alex Poitras, Julius Randle, and AD. Okay, AD's going to guard Patrick Patterson. Who's going to guard John Wall?
And the guy
Who's
who
guard-
dropped
who's guarding-
54 points
Who's guarding John Wall?
against Tennessee,
Who's
Mason.
guarding John Wall?
I actually think if you do this is actually a
I think
pretty
Poitras.
closer matchup than what we think. Like I do. Like
They
when you
obviously,
hear,
yes, they've obviously got quicker guards. We've got better shooting guards, though.
Y'all aren't guarding us.
We got
Y'all
better
aren't guarding
shooting
us.
guards.
Y'all cannot stay in front of us. We're getting to the rack
We're
whenever we
outscoring
want.
y'all,
We're
though.
fouling Anthony
We're
Davis out.
outscoring,
and-
though. We're just
No, we're
outscoring. Y'all
fouling
don't have
him.
enough
okay,
offense.
so here's
You don't
my
have enough
fear.
offense.
Here's my fear, mate. If I was looking, okay, when I look at Colton's team, you have at the point you have Jody Meeks and Patrick Sparks. Not saying that them two can't run point, but they hit
They
me
are
as those
getting
type
clamped.
yeah, they're just shooters. Like they're the types that you don't want running your offense because they're just going to
John Wall
back dribble.
get 17 steals.
However, though, looking at Colton's team, Mason, you're pretty small when it comes to
Oh, we
the
are.
3 to 5 position.
Yeah.
I mean, he's running Alex Poitras, a thick 6'8", Anthony Davis, and Julius Randle. And Julius Randle was no.
Julius Randle's going to
roster.
bully.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and
sure.
Alex Poitras is bullying too.
Yeah.
We're going to put Kobe Bryant on
And
him
Jody
take
Meeks
charges.
dropped 54 on Tennessee. Let's not forget this,
And
man.
John Wall is
And,
going to clamp him.
Also, Colton,
Ah.
you said that that Mason doesn't have enough shooters. I don't know. Darius Miller and
Kobe Bryant.
I mean,
And
still
Patrick
think it's
Patterson can
enough.
stretch the floor.
I think Darius Miller could shoot. I don't think he was known as a shooter. Like, I think there's a difference. Like, DeAndre Liggins could shoot, but I don't think
No.
he was known as a shooter.
no. I cannot believe you just compared Darius Miller shooting to DeAndre Liggins.
I mean, he probably, what Darius Miller averaged? Like 2 a game,
I'm
maybe?
looking.
Well,
He shot
it wasn't like that was
38%.
what
He shot 38% from three.
I didn't say
That's
he was a
really
bad
good.
shooter, but
That's really good.
he's
there's
known for
several-
38%. I would consider that
That's
shooter.
for his 4-year career.
Shooter on the floor.
didn't we just
his
have a guy that come
junior
in last
year-
year that was 38% or something like that?
His junior year,
Who
Darius Miller
shot
shot
38% last year?
I'm saying before they come into the air program.
Oh, it is true.
I don't
Didn't
know.
we
But
have-
Darius Miller, his junior year, shot 44% from three. Just saying.
How many, though?
I
What
don't
I
know.
was
It
saying
says
is I didn't say
44.
he was a bad shooter. I was saying, though, he's one of those that he shot like 1 or 2 a game. Like, he averaged like
Oh,
1 or 2 threes a game.
Darius Miller, 6'7", too. You act like this man's little. I mean,
Listen.
6'7".
What do y'all think, listeners?
We're winning.
Who's roster are you rocking with?
we winning.
All right, let's get
Nah.
into.
I think it would be a good game.
It would. Would y'all like that game though? Like, I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty cool game. Like, you get to, and you can do it like next week if we wanted to. We could do it with anything, NBA, golf.
I've seen a lot of people doing that on like TikTok and stuff.
Yeah. And you also, we could bring it down to $15 if you wanted to, make it a little bit more like where you all don't have a bunch of money left over. And Colton, you got to be a little bit more aggressive on your bidding. You was not making it as fun. You was like,
I love my team.
all right. Well, Mason or Colton, whoever, let's give it to Mason. Mason, take us into the soccer segment. Since y'all are the soccer specialists these days.
Yeah. So as everybody knows, hopefully, the World Cup is going on right now. And it's obviously being hosted here in the United States and Canada and Mexico as well. And there was a lot of momentum, a lot of talk a lot of hype around our U.S. men's national team. Coming into this past week, they went through the group stage. They lost their last game, which don't know that I would really count because they were resting some players. We'd already advanced, had the overall top seed locked down for our group. Then we get into the knockout stage and we defeat Bosnia in the first game. And then we get matched up with Belgium, and a lot of controversy around this game because of Balogun's red card. Donald Trump said he called FIFA, put a word in. The suspension got rescinded for Balogun, and a lot of people were not happy with that. But there was a lot of hype around this game, right?
America was happy with it.
Right. And there was a lot of hype around this game. I think everybody was kind of finally feeling like, okay, this U.S. team, like we've seen some flashes, like they seem like they have the potential to make a decent run. I don't think anybody really expected them to win it, right? But I think everybody was really excited about this Belgium game. It's probably been the most excited anybody's been about a U.S. soccer team at the World Cup in the last 15, 20 years. We had a lot of momentum going into this game, and we come into this game and we just kind of lay an egg, fellas. And I do think the first half was very ugly. I've watched every U.S. game this World Cup, and it looked like a completely different team in the first half. We came out in the second half, and I feel like we gained some momentum. We were pressing them. We were starting to get some looks. It looked a lot better in the second half. And then our goalie, he made a mistake that was I've seen a lot of high school coaches, that have been talking on social media about how that's a high school level mistake that he made. And it really put the game out of reach. That put us down 3-1. And then after that, they scored another late goal to make it 4-1. So a little bit of an embarrassment for the U.S. And, I think the thing that everybody's kind of sitting back here thinking right now is like, we're typically the best in every other sport, right? Like football, obviously it's only played here, but basketball, right? I mean, we win the Olympics almost every year. You think about golf. I mean, we have some of the best golfers in the world. Scotty won the Olympics last time. Granted, we didn't win the Ryder Cup, but then you think about like baseball.
Baseball's up there too.
Whoa. You can't even count the Ryder Cup. I got to thinking about that more and more. That's an entire, not, I hope I'm saying this right.
I agree.
It's a whole it's not just.
Yeah, it is. It's a
country. I keep forgetting that when we match up to them. I'm like, hold on, wait. This is not. I mean, it's fair, I guess, if in a sense, but apples to apples, no, it's not. We're playing an entire continent.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about any sport, right? Like the Olympics, we dominate the Olympics almost every year. So, I guess the question everybody's sitting here thinking right now is like, what is it about soccer that we just can't get over that hump? And I know part of it is it's not as popular here. But still, at the same time, like we dominate everything else. It's not like we don't have, institutions over here that couldn't be developed or couldn't be set up to develop some of these players. So I think let's just talk. And Dylan, you may not have a whole lot on this, but I know Colton mentioned too. Like if you think we took our best athletes from the United States going across different sports, and let's say we had some premier soccer training program, like let's say it started today, right? Do you think based on the athletes we have from these other sports, and y'all kind of talk about athletes that you see in other sports, do you think we could become one of those nations who every year is kind of expected right there at the top in the World Cup in soccer?
The more I think about it, it's just tough because, like I said, as long as we offer these other sports, I mean, you all think about it. I mean, Beckett's played soccer, right?
Uh-huh.
My nephews both played soccer for a little bit, but and that's it. Like they played they played the first little league season, second one, and then like now they're already out of it. And it's just like second nature around here. Yes, other places it's huge, within the country, but at the end of the day, it's still second nature to football. It's still second nature to all these different things where over there it's it, right? It's like you grow up and if you're going to play a sport, it's soccer, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's it for them. I mean, and you're talking about, it's the type of nations where you see it, like they're going down the middle of the street just kicking soccer balls while they're walking down, like out in public. Like that's what they're doing on a daily basis. And that's just not what it is here. And it'll never be here. So people say, could you take the best athletes? Well, I mean, look, if Tyreek Hill had decided to become a soccer player at the age of 10 and focused only on soccer, would he be pretty solid? Yeah. Yeah, I would expect him to use his speed and be a dominant, type of soccer player. And we could use those type of guys. But the ones who are like, hey, yeah, y'all may have soccer, but I bet y'all couldn't stop Derrick Henry if he ran through the A gap or whatever, something like that. And I was like, come on.
None of these coaches have a single person who can
And
stop
I
Derrick
was like,
Henry.
okay, yes. If we put Derrick Henry out on that soccer field right now, is he trucking some people? Yes, but you know what? They're fouls. And you know what else? The majority of those guys are cooking him with their footwork. I don't care. They're cooking him. Like they are running circles around him out there with their sprint speed and their footwork. Like he's not that type of like athlete for that type of sport. So I just don't think it's ever going to be popular enough as a child, and parents push it enough on kids for it to ever be something. I just don't think, what stinks is that you keep seeing like people say, well, this is, USA's just getting started. They're in their prime. Like everyone should be excited. But I mean, let's be realistic. I think that, the next World Cup, a lot of these guys are going to be between like 28 to 32, which will be they'll have some maturity. They'll still be young enough. I mean, I still don't see us beating the Argentinas, the Spains, the France.
Messi's gone.
Right, but still France. Like, I just don't think that we'll ever get to that point. I think your best case scenario is to try to reach like a semifinals one year. And that's about it.
Phil?
No, I don't really
got
care.
anything? All right.
No, I looking at it, you're talking about the player's perspective. Just flipping it, just a little different perspective. Like how you saying like they grow up playing it, the kids, like you go through. I mean, just look at the fans from each country. The World Cup's not going to be in the United States of America in 4 years. I don't know where it's going to be. I have no idea. But do you see do you see the Americans traveling like these other places? Probably like it, and that just speaks to why I think like it's just not, it's not the same here. And you really don't have to be in soccer. I guess it's all like what Colton said, the footwork. I mean, you need to be fast, but like as far as strength and like some of these guys, I mean, they don't. I mean, look, Messi is the perfect example. What is he, like 5'8"? I mean, he honestly looks just like your average dad who likes to grill and cook out and
score goals. That man.
I mean, like, but like that's goat. So I mean, it's easier to sit here and be like, oh yeah, we could take our best athletes, but there's a lot of factors that go into that. I'll say this about the whole thing too. This is typical. I don't watch USA soccer unless it's something like this, but this was definitely already. I knew this was probably going to happen. Like everybody's getting involved. Everybody's around it. Like they finally get the national spotlight. Lay an egg. Like that's just typical. Like if you're in your prime or at your best, you can't do that. That like that just can't happen. You got all the eyes. You have people who don't ever watch soccer watching it, like me. And then that's what I get to watch. I wasted 2 hours.
It felt very Kentucky footballish.
That's a good analogy. Yes, that's perfect.
Like we win like the first 3 games of the season, and then we play our first SEC game at home, like against South Carolina a couple years ago. We get beat by like 30.
We're still mid.
We're absolutely yep. We're like, here we go. This is the year.
This is our year.
Yeah. But here's the thing though. Like, here's what I just keep telling myself. Like, I look at like England and Harry Kane. Like, Colton, you kept saying it last week. He was like, this guy just looks like he should be a movie star. Like, there's nothing special. Like, he's not super athletic, right? Like, yes, obviously he's been training for this his whole life, but that's what I keep sitting here and thinking is like, yes, if people would pour the time and resources into it, and I agree, I don't think it'll happen. Now that people got into the World Cup, I still don't think it's going to happen. But I did see people saying like, if you really enjoyed watching this in the World Cup, like I saw somebody say like Nashville has a team and they're one of the best teams in the MLS, right? Like if you really enjoyed watching the World Cup, like go support them, right? Like if you want this sport to grow, start watching it more, start getting into it more. And I don't know that it will happen because like we said, football, basketball, it kind of dominates everything. Baseball, those three kind of dominate everything. So I don't know if it will. But I think if we did focus on that, I think without a doubt we could be the best nation in the world if we focus on it like these other countries do.
Thinking about, like supporting and have this like emergence, something that soccer really in the United States could look at, I think would be the perfect example is golf. I mean, Colton, you've played, again, we've said this multiple times, but you've played golf longer than both of us. How much has golf grown in the last 5 years?
Oh, since COVID, it's been ridiculous. I mean, it's been insane. I mean, it just has. Of course, COVID, helped in the sense of it was one of the only things you could actually do outside still. And in a sport where you can't really go play team stuff because everyone's you can go out there and play by yourself with golf, which is a benefit. But in the last 5 years, I mean, it's crazy. Like the statistics, if you go and look at how many more people have took up or joined clubs or whatever, it's like a crazy number.
So there is a chance though, right? Like, so, I mean, like,
yes, there is. And I thought the same thing when Mace said that. Like, here's the thing. I'm sure there are people out there that watch this World Cup that got inspired in a way that maybe have young kids. It's like, you know what? Let's get them into Little League Soccer. Let's let them play Little League Soccer. Let's let them go run around. Right? They may not be thinking any more than just that. And that may be enough. They may get them into soccer and it'd be
I'm turning Beckett into the next Erling Haaland.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, as big as he's out to be that guy for sure. But I mean, that may have been all it took for them to really want to do it. And you might have inspired that, they might have inspired the next generation, this World Cup, if they got to go to a World Cup game and they may have never played soccer in their life. Yet, they may start picking it up. I mean, yeah. I mean, same. And I mean, I did not play. It was the one sport in Little League that I did not play. It was on the other side of town at the time. It was in Gamelia. And where I lived, it was like it's like a 35-minute drive for me to get to Gamelia. And I guess like it just was the one sport that I just didn't play. But,
I play
kids. It's gonna be something that I probably will sign them up for just at least early on and see if they like it. Or at least get them to running at the very least. I mean, you can't do nothing but help, coordination, footwork, things like that. I think there's a lot of benefits that come out of it.
Mason, I had a bicycle kick in one of the Little League games. Not kidding, I was good. I promise.
I didn't play.
You played soccer?
Yeah. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this.
You were the goalie.
No, I was not the goalie. I was, I guess, what you'd call a striker. I guess I was the one doing the goal. But I got asked going into my 6th grade year, because I played up until my 5th grade year. I got asked to move up to the JV varsity team my 6th grade year, but I didn't play. I didn't play in middle school because, again, Colton, at that point, you know what time it is? Basketball, baseball, football. And that soccer was just like, if I got to drop something, see you later. Like,
And that's what I was going to say, that like growing up, I played soccer, and soccer was probably my best sport. But here's another issue. Like, I know it's probably changed, but when I was in high school, we didn't even have a soccer team when I was in high school.
Yeah, at some point we didn't either.
We didn't even get a soccer team until after I graduated. So, that's another thing. And one quick story and we can move on. But just to tell you like how it compares to, like, let's just say football over here, like at SEC school, right? So my uncle, he's lived all over, but he lived in England for a little while. And he had one of his friends that he lived with when he was over there. And he was a fan of like a club over there, and they were visiting some town to go watch his club play. And after the match, like his buddy, like Chris is up on a balcony, like my uncle's up on a balcony of like a hotel, and his buddy's like skipping through the town square, like singing his club's fight song, and another opposing team's fan just runs up and just like sticks him, knocks him out in the middle of the street and just takes off running. And I was like, if that's not SEC football or something, like I could just see that happen. I was like, that's how serious they take it over there. It's like religion over there.
Yeah, I'd be a little timid if I was England. Was it England who was playing in Mexico? Yeah. That would have been sketchy. All right. Well, we appreciate y'all for sticking with us. One last thing before we get out of here. Make sure if you have not hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, please do so. Always like and share. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And then we have Apple Podcast, and we're also on Spotify and iHeart. I forget to say iHeart sometimes, but we are on that as well. So
Yeah, listen, to it's not KSR.
yeah, that's right. Well, this has been another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind, and as always, go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.